Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Emily, also known as Emily the Mystic, and I am a psychic medium, an intuitive mentor, a psychic development coach for women, and a quantum energy healer. And in this channel, I like to talk about all things cosmic, mystical, magical, and galactic to help you live a cosmically inspired lifestyle just like I do. In this video, I'm going to be talking all about the psychic gift of clairaudience, what it means, what it is, how to know if this is your number one psychic gift, how to open up this gift, and how to recognize when this gift is appearing in your life. If you are musically inclined, if you have a good listening ear, and if you feel like you have a really good ear for sound in general, you are going to want to watch this video to learn all about the psychic gift of clairaudience. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I am super passionate about talking about clairaudience because this is one of my main psychic gifts. It's one of the first psychic gifts that started opening up for me in my psychic development journey. And I love teaching it to my students in my Cosmic Kickstarter psychic development program because it is such a cool and misunderstood psychic gift that a lot of us have without even realizing it. And once you learn more about this gift from listening to this video, you're going to start to realize all of the crazy, wonderful ways that clairaudience comes through for you in your own life, and you are going to be mind blown. So first, what is clairaudience? So clair means clear. It is one of the main psychic clair senses, and audience means hearing. So this is the psychic gift of clear hearing. So this gift is really misunderstood because of the media and movies. We often think that clairaudience means that we're going to be hearing voices, we're going to be hearing physical tones or voices or whispering in our actual physical ears, which when you think about that, that sounds really freaking creepy. I wouldn't want to have people whispering in my ears at all hours of the day and of the night. No, thank you. So for me, that's not how clairaudience works. So I hope that by watching this video, you are going to be completely demystified by what clairaudience actually is and how it can manifest for you in your life. So first of all, how do you know if clairaudience is one of your main psychic gifts? So because this is the gift of clear hearing, you will know if clairaudience is one of your main gifts if you are a musically inclined person. So maybe you played music when you were growing up, maybe you played an instrument, maybe you still play music, or maybe music is just a big part of your life. If you love listening to music at all hours of the day, if you love dancing to music, maybe you were a dancer in your younger years, maybe you still love to dance. If you love listening to music in your car, singing to music, if music is just a part of your life in general, clairaudience might be one of your main gifts. Number two reason why clairaudience might be one of your main gifts is if you enjoy quiet time on the opposite end of the spectrum. If you enjoy quiet time and if you feel like you need quiet time and space at the end of the day or throughout the day. So if you feel having various audio stimulus is coming into your headspace feels intense to you, if you feel overwhelmed by spending all day talking, and if you feel like you just need quiet space and time to adjust to whatever you learned during the course of the day, if you need quiet time before you go to bed, if you have difficulty watching TV right before you go to bed at night, or you don't like having a ton of audio stimuli going in your head, especially during those times of the day when you feel like you need to relax, that is a huge sign that clairaudience is one of your main gifts. Another sign is if you talk to yourself a lot. So if you feel like you have a conversation with yourself out loud throughout the day, if you talk through your learning process, if you talk to yourself about what you're doing throughout the course of the day, if you just comment to yourself out loud often, that is a very big sign that clairaudience is one of your main gifts. Okay, sign number 4 is if you experience ringing, buzzing, or popping sounds in your ears often. If you all of a sudden have one ear that kind of feels like you can't hear that well anymore and then it pops, or if you feel like you have buzzing or a ringing sound in one or more of your ears, that's a really big sign that your clairaudience is starting to open up. And finally, the biggest sign of all, if you have the gift of clairaudience, is if you have a strong inner dialogue, if you often have conversations running through your head during the course of a normal day, if your thought process takes place in the form of words, sentences, in a strong running inner dialogue, that is a huge sign that clairaudience is a main gift for you. And finally, one more sign that I almost forgot to mention is if you can easily recall sounds in your head. So if you can easily recall what a song sounds like, if you have a song that repeats itself in your head, if you find it very easy to recall a specific sound, if you find it easy to recall the sound of a specific person's voice, that is a very clear sign that clairaudience is one of your main gifts, is if you can hear specific sounds in your head very easily. Like if I were to say, recall the sound of a lion roaring in your ears right now. What does that sound like to you? If you can immediately pick up on that and hear that in your mind right away, that is a big sign that clairaudience is one of your main gifts. So, how does clairaudience work? How do you receive clairaudient psychic information? We're going to be going through all of that now. So the first sign that your clairaudience is coming in is the ear ringing, the ear buzzing, and the ear popping. So take notice of when you have a little bit of a ringing in your ear. Take notice if you feel like you have a popping sound in your ear, or you just feel sensitivity in your ears in general. If this starts to happen to you, know that this is a form of clairaudience. Of course, with all physical sensations, if it's happening to you to the point of being uncomfortable or causing you pain, or see a medical doctor right away. But if this is happening for you from time to time and it doesn't physically bother you or irritate you, then know that it is clairaudient information coming in. So what I would encourage you to do if this happens is stop yourself for a moment and take notice of what you're doing in the moment, what you were saying in the moment, what you were thinking. Because I guarantee that whatever you were doing, saying, or thinking in that moment, there is a piece of information that wants to drop in as a piece of clairaudient information and psychic information. So if you were thinking something, really emphasize that specific thought because it's important. If you are doing something, emphasize whatever it is that you are doing because it's really important for you to take note of it, and your spirit guides are trying to pass along a message to you. Number 2 is with clairaudience, you might actually hear physical sounds. So for me, if I know that I have spirit guides around, I might hear a knocking on the walls. I might hear crackling or popping in my walls. I might hear a bell to let me know that an angel is nearby. If you hear any random sounds like this, accompanied by you feeling an intense increase in energy around you, that is for sure a sign that you are receiving clairaudient psychic information. If you hear like little whispering sounds, if you hear doors slamming, those are all different signs of clairaudient information. Next, this one used to happen to me all the time as a child. It still happens to me from time to time, which is when you think that you hear somebody saying your name aloud, but nobody is or nobody is there. So I used to always hear Emily, and this still happens to me, and I live alone. I'll turn around and I'll hear Emily, and I'll look over my shoulders and there's nobody there. That is a big sign that your spirit guides are speaking to you and trying to get in touch with you. Next, clairaudient information can come through your physical ears in the form of movies, songs, TV commercials, and any form of audio sound that you hear. Your spirit guides might be delivering a message to you. So a repeating song, hearing just the right words during a TV commercial that you needed to hear, hearing a specific message in a movie, or having the right song just pop up on the radio at a moment when you need guidance are all big signs that you are receiving a clairaudient message from your spirit guides. So really tune in, because usually you will just realize at that moment that you're receiving a message. So tune in to the words that were spoken and see how much it resonates for you in your body. If those just were the right words that you needed to hear at that exact moment, maybe you overheard a conversation somebody was having, that is you receiving clairaudient information. I receive a lot of messages from my spirit guides in movies, specifically Hallmark movies. They love guiding me to watch a Hallmark movie, and I'll often receive some really helpful tips and guidance in there. And I'll just know at the moment when I hear it that that was a message for me that I needed to receive. You will just know in that moment when you receive the actual message in the form of that audio note and sentence that's being spoken or sung or whatever it is, that that was a message that you needed to hear. I love giving this little example where if you need to receive guidance for something going on in your life and you need something super quick, throw on your Spotify or your Apple Music playlist and hit shuffle and ask your spirit guides a specific question and see what song pops up next. This is a really awesome way to receive a message in the form of clairaudient information through a specific song. Give this a try and leave a comment. Let me know how this works for you. And finally, the number one way that I personally receive clairaudient information, and you probably are already as well, is through thoughts popping into your mind in the form of words or phrases. So if you have that strong running inner dialogue, like I was mentioning before, where you hear phrases in your mind, recognize that not all of those phrases are coming from you. Mic drop. A lot of them are coming from your spirit guides. So it is within this process of discernment, of discerning what thoughts are coming from your ego, from your identity, and what thoughts are coming from your higher self and from your spirit guides. That is a big part of the process, and that's something that I teach within my Cosmic Kickstarter Psychic Development Program. But in the next part of the video, I'm going to be sharing some ways for how to start to learn how to do this and how to start using your clairaudience. And it all begins with learning how to recognize your thought patterns. So how do you begin to open up your clairaudience? How can you start to recognize what are clairaudient messages and what aren't? So my number one tip is by taking time and space to actually listen to and receive music. So throw on a song. I specifically recommend using classical music for this, Celtic music, or music that has a lot of different instruments in it. Put on some headphones and allow yourself quiet time to just lie down or sit with the song. Close your eyes and allow yourself to pick apart the song within your mind. So picking apart the instruments, picking apart the refrain, the refrain versus the verse of the song. Taking a moment to realize what the different instruments are and unpicking all those levels and layers of sound within your head will really help you to open up your clairaudience, because clairaudience is all about recognizing different auditory frequencies. So when you begin to start doing this by listening to a lot of music and really picking it apart within your mind, you start to be able to pick on more subtle audio frequencies that you might not have been aware of before. So number 2 way to do this is to listen to binaural beats. There are a lot of binaural beats here on YouTube that's spelled BINAURAL, binaural beats. And there are different ones for different frequencies connected to different energies. So I encourage you to pick a binaural beat, maybe song that you want to check out. Maybe you like the album artwork. Maybe you like the YouTube thumbnail. Throw it on, listen to it, and see what energies, what feelings and emotions that binaural beat song conjures within your physical body. That will help you to connect to the energetic frequency of what is within those binaural beats. Again, listening to the sounds and the instruments and unpacking that within your mind is going to be very helpful. And finally, when you're listening to those binaural beats, recognize if whatever is listed in the title name of the song matches the energy and the emotion and the feeling that you're picking up on listening to it. Some of them, to me, don't match. And that for me shows that those binaural beats were created or marketed in a way that doesn't match up with the actual frequency that is coming through. So be very cautious and careful when listening to binaural beats, because if you get a weird feeling or a negative feeling, or you don't like what you're listening to, you can always switch them and throw on another one and give it a try. Don't force yourself to listen to something that doesn't feel good to you, because you are absorbing the energy, the frequency, the emotion of those binaural beats. So just change it up if you don't like what's going on in the song. Some of them are a little creepy, so just bear that in mind. But give it a try. It's a good experiment. Next, give yourself some quiet time to lie down or sit down and just allow yourself to close your eyes and tune into the sounds in your environment. This is really interesting whether you live in the city or you live in the country, especially if you're outside, you can tune into the different cars that are going by outside. You can tune into the different insects that might be whizzing by your head. You can tune into the lawnmower or the construction that's going on next door. And just allowing yourself to tune into those different frequencies and hear those different sounds will help you to, again, recognize different audio frequencies, which will help you open up your clairaudience later on down the road. And finally, tuning into your thought patterns. This is the most important part of learning how to recognize clairaudient information when it's coming in the form of audio messages from your spirit guides. So, how do you do this? Well, I encourage you to start tracking your thought patterns. So, for instance, if you are going to your refrigerator to grab a glass of water or a glass of a beverage, what does that process, that thought pattern, mean for you? Do you think about it in a linear frame of mind? Do you think about yourself getting the glass from the cabinet, walking to the fridge, opening the fridge, grabbing a pitcher of water or grabbing a pitcher of juice, pouring it? Now that you've been able to recognize what that looks like in your mind, what types of information just happen to pop in at the same time? Or maybe you think of a thought that is completely separate from that linear thought pattern. So begin to recognize your thought patterns and when they are linear and when they are not linear, when information just seems to drop in. That's step one. Step two is notice when you are thinking thoughts in the form of an internal dialogue, such as you're having a conversation with yourself, you're thinking thoughts about an event that's going on in your life or a situation. Tune into what the tone of voice sounds like in your mind. Does it sound like your tone of voice? Or does it sound deeper and more mature? For me, when I'm hearing guidance from my higher self, it comes in a deeper pitch, a deeper tone of voice, and the words that she uses are often more higher levels of vocabulary than I would normally use within my own thought patterns. Tune into whether you hear a specific accent or a different tone of voice. Whenever I hear the voices of archangels or different ascended masters, I hear different accents when I'm connecting with them. And this is all a process that you will definitely learn with time, but you can also begin to recognize what words they're using, what different types of words they're using or speaking, because those will give you a clue as to whether they are coming from you or they are coming from your spirit guides. If they say a type of word or phrase that you never use, you know that it's not coming from your identity, your ego, it's coming from your spirit guides. So just start tuning into your thought patterns on a day-to-day basis. This will really help, and you can even do this during 5-10 minutes of quiet meditation and just allowing yourself to sit with your thoughts and realizing what's coming in that feels like it's coming from you and what's coming in that doesn't feel like it's coming from you is going to help you learn how to discern between what is spirit guide, clairaudient information and what is coming from yourself, from your identity, and from your ego. So that's all I have for clairaudience. Again, I love the psychic gift so much. Leave me a comment below and let me know if this is one of your main psychic gifts. I can't wait to hear. Make sure you hear. Hearing, super important. So again, final message that just popped in from the spirit guides is if you say that you hear things, like if you say to somebody, I heard you, or I hear that, or I hear what you're saying. If you say that phrase often, clairaudience is probably one of your main gifts. Okay, final message from the spirit guides there. Make sure that you like this video. Make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel for more content like this one. And make sure you check out all of my videos on the different psychic gifts so you can learn how to develop your psychic and intuitive senses in a way that feels amazing and expansive for you. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.